8, 7, 6.
Good morning,
5.
Excellencies, distinguished laureates, Executive Director of UNFPA and Secretary of the Committee for the United Nations Population Award. Good morning, members of the Committee of the United Nations Population Award, Executive Director of UNFPA and Secretary of the Committee for the United Nations Committee for the United Nations Population Award. I have the privilege and great pleasure of welcoming you to the 2022 United Nations Population Award virtual ceremony. Excellencies, in 1981, the United Nations member states, in an effort to recognize the importance of population and development issues, established the United Nations Population Award. This award allows us to pay tribute to those who have made outstanding contributions to raising awareness on population questions and dedicated their work to developing and implementing solutions to those pressing matters. As the world recovers from the COVID-19 pandemic, worsened inequalities persist and are compounded by complex and worsening humanitarian emergencies, climate change, rising food prices, and threats to multilateralism. This while member states race to mitigate these impacts, invest where they can, and rescue the 2030 agenda in the remaining years of the decade of action. Excellencies, distinguished guests, the laureates selected by the committee this year have demonstrated that their respective interventions and partnerships have addressed some of the worrying trends made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic. These contributions were meaningful and impactful for the committees they serve. We recognize to advance our shared goals that a number of population issues require further attention, notably investment in strengthening national statistical systems for developing, planning, and emergencies, particularly the collection of and use of population data. Policy approaches and implementation that recognize the interconnectedness of climate change and addressing universal access to sexual and reproductive health and realization of reproductive rights. Recognition of the centrality of the voices and needs of people with disabilities, young people, women, and girls. And learning from the experiences of the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring that commodity supply chains are not disrupted and that social protection systems are resilient. Ladies and gentlemen, I call upon all stakeholders, including government representatives, civil society, academia, the private sector, and media, to encourage more individuals and institutions to bring their contributions to the attention of the Committee for the United Nations Population Award through the established nomination process. This, in turn, will lead to more awareness on the importance of population issues and to the achievement of sustainable development. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I also take this opportunity to express my condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Adrienne Germain, co-founder of the International Women's Health Coalition, IWHC, on her recent passing. Ms. Germain is the Population Award laureate in the individual category from 2012. She dedicated her career to ensuring that women and girls around the world can exercise their right to control their own bodies and access quality education opportunities while participating equally within their respective societies. Under her leadership, the the IWHC was an instrumental proponent of the International Conference on Population and Development Agenda. As we reflect on her legacy as an advocate for the rights of women and girls, may we all be called to action. Thank you for your attention. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the committee, let me congratulate the laureates of the 2022 United Nations Population Award. In the individual category, Honorable Emma Amatilla Tofilis. In this institution category, National Population and Family Planning Board, BKKBN. The committee, comprising 7 member states, along with the United Nations Population Award, UNFPA, and the United Nations Department for Economic and Social Affairs, DESA, as ex officio members, considered 7 candidates in the individual category and 6 in the institution category. I can say on behalf of the members of the committee that it was an honor to be entrusted with such an important task of selecting this year's laureates. For the 2 laureates who have been selected, we hope this is an honorable recognition of their inspiring work. I have the great pleasure now to invite Her Excellency Ms. Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General, to deliver a pre-recorded statement on behalf of His Excellency Secretary General Antonio Guterres of the United Nations.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate the 2022 United Nations Population Award laureates, whose achievements in the areas of population dynamics and development have transformed lives. I thank UNFPA's Executive Director, Dr. Natalia Kanem, for her work as the Secretary of the Committee for the United Nations Population Award. And I congratulate the Chair of the Committee, Her Excellency Ambassador Amal Modalli, Permanent Representative of Lebanon, and the committee members for electing the laureates. The United Nations Population Award recognizes the contributions of exceptional individuals and organizations in bettering our world. We celebrate the individual laureate, the Honorable Miss Emma Theophilus, Deputy Minister of Namibia's Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, at only 23. She has led public communication on preventative measures to curtail the spread of COVID-19, and she is an accomplished activist for adolescent sexual and reproductive health services and the realization of reproductive rights. Ms. Theophilus is an avid proponent of women's empowerment and addressing harmful gender stereotypes and systemic barriers. We also celebrate the institutional laureate, Indonesia's National Population and Family Planning Board. This non-ministerial government agency carries out family planning initiatives in the Republic of Indonesia, mentoring experts in the field of population dynamics and emerging as the global best practice model. The board has engaged with faith-based organizations on population issues and collaborated with stakeholders, resulting in the raising the minimum age for first marriage and setting the same bar for boys and girls. As the world struggles to mitigate the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic and other global crises, and as we strive to rescue the Sustainable Development Goals, these contributions are an example of leadership that the world needs today. On behalf of the United Nations, I commend both laureates for their work and dedication. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much to Her Excellency, my sister, Ms. Amina Mohammed, for her statement on behalf of the United Nations Secretary General and for her leadership and inspiring work at the UN. We will now proceed with a video presentation on the work of this year's laureates. Now it's my distinct pleasure, to invite Dr. Natalia Keren, Executive Director of UNFPA and the Secretary of the Committee for the United Nations Population Award, to read the citation on the certificate of the laureate in the individual category. Dr. Keren, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. It is my great pleasure to read the citation for the laureate in the individual category. The United Nations Population Award, an affirmation by the international community, is presented to Honorable Emma Inamutila Theophilus in recognition of your commitment to advocacy related to women's empowerment through the participation of women in public office and in decision-making, and addressing harmful gender stereotypes and systemic barriers. Your significant contributions as an advocate for adolescent sexual and reproductive health. Your pioneering work to address the regional and class disparities in teenage childbearing, and your leadership in public communication campaigns on preventive steps against the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, in the Republic of Namibia. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Keren. It's my pleasure and honor to invite the Honorable Emma Inamutila Theophilus to deliver her statement. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, Your Excellency, Madam Amal Mudalai, the Chairperson of the Committee for the United Nations Population Award, the Permanent Representative of Lebanon to the United Nations, the Executive Director of UNFPA, and the Secretary of the Committee for the United Nations Population Award, Dr. Natalia Keren, all government representatives of the Republic of Namibia following this proceedings, our United Nations Namibia family and friends, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Committee for the United Nations Population Award for bestowing on me this great honor, the most prestigious population award in the world, the United Nations Population Award in the individual category. As I reflect on my experience of how I got here, I'm taken back to when I first got my own period. Of course, I learned about the menstrual cycle in my 6th grade class. My teacher, in whom my opinion did a wonderful job at explaining the biological part of menstruation amidst the giggles of both boys and girls alike, still did not prepare me for the experience itself. In my mind, somehow, even though I knew about it, it was still a shock. And after my first initial period and my mother teaching me how to properly manage my cycle, as I shared my story with my friends, we all had the same experience. We were all surprised and frankly overwhelmed that we will be experiencing this once every month, every year, for the rest of our lives for many, many years to come. And it is with sharing these experiences that feelings and sentiments of shame snuck in. I don't know where they stem from, but we somehow all knew that when we talk about our period, we speak about it in hushed voices. We get embarrassed when we get caught off guard by our period and have to ask a teacher or a fellow learner for a pad or tampon. There is some deep-seated shame with having periods. And by the time I was 16 or 17 years old, I would have moments where I felt that it was better to be a boy instead of being a girl, just to avoid the experience altogether. And imagine this is me who had the tools every month to safely manage my period. What about the young women and girls who don't have that privilege? When I grew older and became a leader at school and in my community, and girls and young women alike felt safe and comfortable enough to confide in me, I learned that not everyone was privileged as me to afford pads. I was, to say the least, shocked and heartbroken. I was nowhere well off. My parents are simple people, but my mother tried her level best to buy a pack of pads for me and my sister every month as she did the grocery shopping. How could girls like me, who experience their periods, which are sometimes very painful, where we can hardly walk, which can be uncomfortable, for example, when you have a big presentation to make or a big meeting to attend, or even play sports, not have the necessary tools to manage their period in a safe manner? My mind could not comprehend it. So I made sure to carry a pack of period pads with me to school every single day, regardless of whether I was on my period or not. This, of course, made my mother worrisome and suspicious because she did not understand why I would need to go through 2 or 3 packs of pads a month when I don't have a heavy flow. And I, of course, risked a scolding because we didn't have a lot of resources. However, I knew I had to do it. My fear of getting a scolding from my mother was nothing compared to not having pads and needing to miss school or risk using unsanitary materials to manage a period by those young girls. And that is where my journey began. I became very invested in issues related to sexual reproductive health and rights. When I donated my first school uniform to the 15-year-old girl who was impregnated by her much older boyfriend, which constitutes a statutory rape and still does in Namibia, which occurs more often across Namibia, these types of situations, more than not. And I helped her with, and all the others that followed, to navigate teenage pregnancy at my high school. And I knew that I needed to use my voice and every tool at my disposal to help young girls make smarter choices about their sexual activities, because whether we like it or not, young people are having sex. What is important is to give them the tools to practice safe sex and make informed choices. And in the case that they do fall pregnant, I can only hope that they get the chance to make options and have choices to make a decision for their future and their bodies. In Namibia, some of those choices include going back to school for young mothers. And I wish that choice upon every pregnant girl and young woman, along with a support system that encourages them not to take becoming pregnant as a life sentence, but rather as a redirection in their lives. In my 4 years at the university, I sought out people and groups with similar drive as me to crowdfund, organize events, and assist those in formal and informal education to have access to sanitary pads. I am proud to say that over the course of all those years, along with my compatriots, we have facilitated the provision of sanitary pads to over 50,000 girls and young women across Namibia. Quite frankly, the number could be higher. This is why it is no surprise when I was appointed as Member of Parliament and Deputy Minister in the Republic of Namibia by His Excellency Dr. President Hage G. Geingob, who himself in June of 2018 received the African Excellence Award for Gender for his unrelenting effort in creating a standard structure for the promotion and protection of women's rights in Namibia. I knew that one of the issues I have to champion and exert my newfound political power on were matters around the population. And on the 9th of May 2021, on the 9th of March 2021, I tabled a motion in Parliament for the complete removal of tax and or partial reduction of tax on all sanitary pads in efforts to make them affordable to the average Namibian girl and woman. And to date, Namibia has begun the process to do just that. The removal of tax on all sanitary pads will become a reality in Namibia and is the first step, in my opinion, towards making all sanitary products free in the near future. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot fully express to you how much I'm honored to receive this United Nations Population Award. According to the UNESCO report, 1 in 10 African girls misses 5 to 6 school days due to their period. This puts an unequal and unfair burden on the girl child and exposes them to many other societal risks by staying out of school. The reality is not far away from out-of-school girl children due to various reasons, including teenage pregnancy. No matter the age, background, race, or faith, this affects all Namibian women and African women to extension, and the playing field needs to be leveled. For most women, menstruation is often a rather inconvenient biological reality against which there is no control and which can be expensive for some women. The 2030 United Nations Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals speaks of 2 goals that relate to ending poverty in all its forms. And I would like to believe that period poverty is included in this, to ensure healthy lives for people of all ages and the empowerment of women and girls. It is therefore my conviction and my pledge that I will redouble my efforts and collaborate with others in ensuring that period poverty is one day eradicated, and that I play a pivotal role in addressing larger population matters such as sexual and gender-based violence, child marriages, and teenage pregnancy, as I've already been doing. I wish to dedicate at this juncture, Excellencies, distinguished guests, this award to the people of the Republic of Namibia, especially the young women and girls who continue to break barriers and hold their own in a world that does not put them first. I further dedicate this award to the women of Africa for being cornerstones of the cradle of our humanity and daring to exist. I am honored to accept this award, and I once again thank the committee for bestowing on me this prestigious honor. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ms. Emma Inamatullah Theophilus. You are very inspiring, and congratulations again. And now for the institutional category, I kindly request Dr. Natalia Keren to read the citation on the certificate of the laureate of the institution in the institution category. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, Madam Chair. It is my distinct pleasure to read the citation for the laureate in the institutional category. The United Nations Population Award, an affirmation by the international community, is presented to the National Population and Family Planning Board, BKKBN. In recognition of your significant contributions to implementing family planning initiatives in the Republic of Indonesia. Emergence as a global best practice model in family planning initiatives and engagement in South-South cooperation to train and mentor population experts. Your engagement with non-governmental and faith-based organizations on population issues, advocacy to address harmful practices, development of programs to assist families living with and caring for older persons, and for enhancing interventions to ensure continued provision of family planning services during the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic in the Republic of Indonesia. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Keren. I now have the distinct pleasure to invite Professor Mohammed Rizal Damanik, Deputy Chair for Training, Research and Development, National Population and Family Planning Board, BKKBN, Republic of Indonesia, to deliver his statement. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Your Excellencies, Ms. Natalia Keren, Executive Director, UNFPA, Secretary of the Committee for United Nations Population Award, Ms. Emma Theophilus, Fellow Laureate from Republic of Namibia, Her Excellency Ambassador Amal Mudalali, a Permanent Representative of Lebanon to United Nations, Chair of the Committee for the United Nations Population Award, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, representing His Excellency Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, the Chair of the National Population and Family Planning of Indonesia. On behalf of the BKKBN and the people of government of Indonesia, I'm honored to accept this important and prestigious award, the United Nations Population Award 2022 for institutional category. To us, this award is a testament of trust by the international community in our efforts to face the complex challenges under the population agenda in Indonesia. I'm earnestly grateful for this award and see this as an acknowledgement of our hard work in population issues and in family planning in Indonesia. This is the second time for Indonesia to receive the award after the first time in 1989. BKKBN would also like to extend its highest appreciation to the President of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency President Joko Widodo, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of State Secretariat, the permanent missions of the Republic of Indonesia in New York, and to UNFPA Indonesia for the supports and collaborations that have made this achievement possible and recognized by the global community. Madam Chair, BKKBN was established as a follow-up to the family planning movement in Indonesia. It has contributed to people both at national and international levels. At national level, in the last 5 decades, BKKBN has successfully implemented the family planning program that is contributive to sustainable development efforts. As a result, Indonesia's fertility has declined sharply from 5.6 to 2.2 children per woman from 1970s to 2000s. Consequently, our population growth has declined from 2.31% per annum in 1971 to 1980 to be 1.25% per annum in 2010 to 2020. This has contributed to the improvement of public services, such as in education, health sectors. Ultimately, the decreasing trend of our population growth has brought improvements in living standard in Indonesia. Indonesia is continuously committed to the implementation of the result of the 1994 ICPD in Keren. It has provided a new paradigm in understanding population issues that goes beyond mere numbers and put human lives at the center of the focus. It emphasized the need to improve individuals' life while honoring their rights. Our initiatives on population agenda in Indonesia target intervention that focus, among others, on men's participation in family planning, youth engagement on the importance of planned marriage, care for pregnant mothers, including postpartum mothers, care for children under the age of 5, community mobilization at gross level, known as Quality Family Village. Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, we are now also prioritizing on reducing stunting prevalence in Indonesia. Understanding that the country's stunting prevalence rate is relatively high at 27.7% in 2019, the government of Indonesia commits to lower it to 14% by 2024. Since last year, it has become one of the highest priorities among our agendas to fight stunting from national to community levels. Relative to this, a presidential regulation number 72, year 2021, was enacted to strengthen our national law number 52, year 2009 on population and family development and give BKKBN mandate to coordinate programs on stunting reduction while ensuring COVID-19 vaccination for children and pregnant women. Distinguished participations to the international community since 1970, Indonesia is committed to showcase a good success on family planning agenda. We continue to share our experience and knowledge on population agenda to many countries for the betterment of all. Our contributions have reached more than 5,000 policymakers, experts, and program implementers in 114 countries. It is done, including through South-South cooperation mechanism, where the good practices on 7 thematic focuses are shared from 8 provinces in Indonesia, recognized to be our center of excellence. Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, with this achievement, the government of Indonesia, through BKKBN, reiterates its determination and commitment to strongly support the pursuit of the Sustainable Development Goals, ICPD Plan of Actions, Stunting Reductions, COVID-19 Pandemic Prevention and Recovery, and South-South Cooperation. Finally, we would like to dedicate this award to all champions of population and family planning program in Indonesia, particularly our family planning workers, PKB dan PLKB throughout Indonesia, for their dedications and hard works to address the actual needs on the ground. Right here from New York City, in America, I salute you all. Please allow me to deliver the salute in Bahasa. Salam BKKBN, berencana itu keren. Once again, salam BKKBN, berencana itu keren. Terima kasih, matur nuwun, diaite tupa, horas. I thank you very much. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Professor Muhammad Rizal Damanik, and thank you for your leadership, and assalamu alaikum, and assalam on everybody who's working on this issue in Indonesia around the world. And congratulations again to both distinguished laureates. Excellencies, members of the committee, distinguished laureates, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to remind you that the committee looks forward to receiving nominations for 2023 round of deliberations by the 31st of December 2022. On behalf of the Committee of the United Nations for the United Nations Population Award, I thank you all for attending this ceremony. And on this note, the United Nations Population Award virtual ceremony for 2022 is now adjourned. Thank you.